Hi, I'm Desiree with Horizon Dog Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to work with aggressive dogs. A lot of people who are dealing with aggression issues with their family member are facing a really scary situation because the consequences can be very high. The good news is this is often fixable and it's pretty simple, the process. The first thing to know when you're dealing with a dog that's experiencing an aggression reaction to something in the environment, whether it's a person, another dog, a child, or anything else, is that you need to be very, very mindful of practicing good safety and management. There's a couple of reasons for this. The first one is obvious. We just want to keep everyone else safe, you safe, and your dog safe. The second one is less obvious. When your dog is in a highly stressed out, aroused mental state, they're actually neurologically incapable of learning. This means that if they're already reacting to the environment, nothing good can come from that. Your dog is not learning anything from that interaction except developing more trauma. They're not learning to behave better, and they're not going to be able to be trained when they're in that state of mind. We have to start the training much earlier on in the process. So what you need to do first is, just as far as you possibly can, control your dog's exposure to the things that are triggering these explosions. That way they stop happening, your dog can relax, you can relax, everyone stays safe, and we can implement the training in a really controlled, safe, and actually effective way. The second thing I want you to know is that behavior does not happen in a vacuum. What this means is there is always a chain reaction that is building, and the explosive behavior, the aggression that you're seeing, is at the end of the chain. So a lot of times, again, I hear clients say, this behavior happened out of nowhere. The problem isn't that the behavior happened out of nowhere. The problem is that there was a lot of things leading up to it. And sometimes those things can be pretty subtle, or they might not make a lot of logical sense to you, or you're maybe missing signs that your dog is trying to communicate with you that something is wrong. And when all of that gets ignored, then the behavior happens. So behavior happens because of two things. One, environmental factors that create fuel for the explosion. So this could be anything in the environment that's stressful for your dog. And as those things pile up, it's like adding fuel to a fire. Eventually it gets so big, you get a big explosion. The other thing that factors into all of this is your dog's emotional response to things. So this could be anything. This could be your dog's emotional response to something in the environment, which is what determines whether that thing is fuel or not. It could be your dog's emotional response to the day itself and everything your dog has experienced that day. And it could be your dog's basic level of stress and just arousal in general before they're even put into a more challenging situation. All of those things have to be addressed because that's what's actually at the root of the behavior. That's creating your behavior. And as that builds and grows, that's when you see it. If you just suppress the behavior, but you don't deal with the fuel, then you're just going to get a bigger explosion later. To really solve a problem behavior, you have to address the fuel. So we've talked about managing problem behaviors and aggression so that they don't get worse. We've talked about what drives and creates problem behaviors and aggression. Now let's talk about what you do about the problem behaviors or the aggression that you're seeing in order to fix it. The good news is all of the stuff about worrying about being the pack leader, setting all these boundaries and structures, training, you don't need any of that stuff. Again, if you think about what's causing the problem in the first place, it's none of those things. So we don't have to worry about all those things. So that's a whole lot of stuff you can just push off your plate and forget about forever. What you need are some really basic things. You need to establish a relationship of trust and communication between you and your dog. This means that you are recognizing your dog's emotional needs and you're taking care of them. Your dog knows this and trusts you to do that. This means that you're understanding what your dog is communicating to you, and you're learning to listen when your dog talks in a quiet voice so that your dog doesn't have to scream and become aggressive in order for you to recognize something is wrong. So this means that you're understanding and responding to your dog's subtle communication signals. When you do this, you build that relationship of trust. And as you build that, rather than being emotionally reactive in a situation, your dog is going to look to you for guidance. In addition to that, you also need to work on some basic life skills, being able to get your dog's attention and teaching your dog to relax and to practice a little bit of self-control in general. When you've got those things, when you can always get your dog's attention, when you know that your dog is capable and knows how to relax and self-soothe, and when your dog has enough self-control to inhibit themselves even when they're feeling a lot of emotion, then you're going to be able to get traction on the problem behaviors. And anything else that's still a problem after you've taken care of those foundational basics, then you can address that directly and it should resolve fairly quickly and easily. If you have a good foundation, then the aggression that you're seeing is going to be much, much, much more manageable. So at the end of the day, what is really important is that you keep your dog safe, you meet your dog's needs, and your dog stays in a happy, calm, emotional state so that your dog can learn new behaviors. When you do all of that, then your problem is going to go away. And if it doesn't go away entirely, it's going to at least get to the point where you're much more able to manage and control it, and it's not such a huge issue in your day-to-day life. And that's where we want you to be. So I hope this was helpful and at least gave you a deeper understanding of what's going on with your dog and what's fueling these aggressive behaviors that you may be seeing and how you can start to adapt an approach to actually effectively deal with them. So there is hope. And if you would like more help, then feel free to reach out. I would love to talk to you.